Have you ever been confused about fly fishing leaders? This video is for you. In this video, I'd like to share some of my experience I've learned about leaders over the past 30 years of fly fishing, salt, and fresh water. My name's Robert George, and this is my channel, RG Experiences Outside. I'm going to cover the purpose of a leader, the types of leaders, leader material, and give you some hints on how I choose my leaders for trout fishing. So what is a leader? Simply, it's a piece of fishing line that connects your fly line to your fly. It has two functions. One, to attach your fly to your fly line. Two, to get your fly a good distance away from your fly line when you cast. Typically, a trout seeing your fly line will spook it, and it's game over for a few hours for that trout. What are the types of leaders you may encounter? There are tapered leaders, braided leaders, knotted leaders, but for the beginner fly fisherman, you just want to focus on the standard tapered leader. None of the products that I've shown you in this video were sponsored. They were all purchased at full price with my own money. So what is a tapered leader? It's a leader that is thicker in the butt section, which is a section that attaches to your fly line, that tapers down to a smaller size on the end that attaches to your fly. That is the tippet end. Later on in this video, I will talk about how to size or pick the correct tippet size of your leader. Why would you want to use a tapered leader instead of a straight piece of fishing line? Well, it helps your casting. As I mentioned earlier, you want to get your fly away from your fly line because the fly line can spook a trout. By having it tapered, it lets the cast finish and stretches your leader completely out and gets the fly away from the fly line. When selecting a tapered leader for fly fishing, you want to use monofilament, or sometimes you'll see nylon listed as the material. Those are the materials you want to use for dry fly fishing because mono and nylon float. You may also see fluorocarbon. Fluorocarbon sinks, so it's not desirable for dry fly fishing. You would use fluorocarbon if you were going to be strictly nymph fishing. Leader selection, the tricky part. When you walk into a store to buy a leader, you'll see many different lengths and tippet sizes. The tippet size is the number on the leader packet followed by an X. For example, 0X, 2X, 4X, 5X. The tippet size is actually the diameter of the leader on the end that attaches to your fly. This is important because there are many different size flies with large and small hooks. If you are going to use a very small fly, you're going to need a larger number for tippet. If you're going to use a large foam fly, you can use a smaller number, which is a larger size tippet. I know it's confusing. The numbering is backwards. The larger the number, the smaller the tippet, and the easier to break it. Choosing a leader length. A leader length varies depending on what water you're fishing, what size rod you're using, and it's a personal preference, to be honest. But if you're a beginner, here's some tips. When I'm using an 8.5 foot rod, I'll usually just grab a 9 foot long leader. Why would you want to use a longer leader? For example, you might be using a 9 foot rod and you'll hear someone say, oh, you need a 12 foot leader. Well, they may be fishing in a water where the water is very still and the fish are very spooky. So in that situation, a longer leader to get the fly even farther away from the fly line. Some suggestions for leaders that I like to use. Now, granted, everyone you ask is going to have a different opinion, but if you're new to fly fishing, you need to get started somewhere to really figure out what you like and don't like. For me, when I'm fishing a small creek, I'm using a 7.5 foot fly rod. I'm going to start with a 7.5 foot leader. If I'm going to be using a size 16 dry fly, it's going to be a 5X tippet size. If I'm using a really small foam fly on the small creek, I'll use a 4X. So you need to get out and fish and know your rivers, know your creeks, and know where you're going to fish. And that will help you with your selection of leaders. I'm rigging up my 8.5 4-weight to fish the small creek that's behind us here. Just happens that I need to put on a new leader. So I pull out of my pack 9-foot 4X. A lot of these leaders, when you buy them, they come pre-tied with a loop on the butt end, which is really nice. But they're also kind of wraps. You pay close attention when you're trying to unfurl them, because if you're not careful, you'll kind of knot them up and be a real pain before you even get started fishing. One of the things I like to do when you pull them out, they're very kinky and twisted from being in the packet. So I like to kind of take and stretch them a little bit, but be very careful, because with the smaller, especially like a 4X or 5X leader, you'll break the tippet right off. Pretty much all decent fly lines nowadays will have a loop on the end of the fly line. And like I said, these leaders are pre-tied with a loop already in them. So you just do a loop-to-loop connection to your fly line, and you've got your leader on and you're ready to tie on the fly and get fishing. If you found this video helpful, please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. It really will help me grow my channel. Thank you.